Iki Kurogane is a student at Hagon Academy training to be a mage knight. Unfortunately, he performs terribly in class and is known by the other students as the worst one. Iki is also in danger of flunking out of the academy. One day after a jog, Iki accidentally walks into his room and finds a girl changing. The academy director, Kurono Shinguji, scolds him and makes him apologize because the girl is Stella Vermilion, a famous A-rank blazer and the princess of the Vermilion Empire. She also becomes his new roommate. Stella quickly sets some rules for their shared living space, but Iki doesn't like them. So, Kurono decides they should have a pretend fight. The loser has to do whatever the winner says. Even though Iki is ranked really low as an F-rank blazer, he agrees because he wants to do well in the upcoming 7-star Sword Art Festival. During the fake fight, Iki shows off his surprisingly strong fighting skills and learns Stella's moves, which he copies using his blade steel technique. And although Stella tries her best, Iki manages to win although the match exhausts him. Later, Kurono tells Stella that even though Iki is strong, he didn't pass the academy's tests because of his unique fighting style, which puts him in danger of getting expelled from the academy. Kurono suggests that Stella should learn from Iki to get better through his unorthodox fighting style. Back at their place, Stella apologizes to Iki for her earlier behavior, but Iki reminds her of their deal. The loser has to listen to the winner. But instead of punishing her, Iki just asks her to be a good roommate. One day, Iki's little sister, Shizuku, who he hadn't seen in 4 years, arrives at Hagon Academy as a new student. In class, their teacher, Yuri Oriki, tells them about a competition called the 7-Star Sword Art Festival. Later, they meet Shizuku, who surprises them by kissing Iki. This leads to a fight between Stella and Shizuku because Stella is close to Iki, which makes Shizuku extremely jealous. Shizuku tries to tell Stella to stay away from her brother and accidentally lets it slip that their family treated Iki like he didn't matter, and he is ignored by the rest of their family. The next evening, Shizuku meets her roommate, Nagi Alice Arasuin, who has very feminine attitudes compared to Shizuku. Meanwhile, Stella asks Iki about what Shizuku said. He tells her that he was born into a family of talented blazers, but he alone had no talent. This led to his family ignoring him, and he even ran away and got lost in a snowstorm. His great-grandfather, Ryoma Kirogane, saved him and told him to believe in himself. After that, he worked really hard to become like his great-grandfather and got into the academy. But when his family found out, they pressured the school, which had a different director at the time, to make rules that made it tough for him to do well in class. Kurono, the current director, also faces pressure because of this. Iki says that the bullying he faces won't ever stop. Later, after practicing with Iki, Stella wants to ask him out on a date. But before she can, Shizuku sends Iki a text asking him to go shopping with her. Stella is surprised when Iki agrees and decides to go with them. During the shopping trip, Iki meets Alice for the first time, and he's a bit put off by his feminine personality. However, he later praises Alice for helping Shizuku become more open with others. The whole time they're shopping, Stella and Shizuku compete for Iki's attention, and it seems like Shizuku is winning each time. Then, while they're taking a break to use the restrooms, a group of armed men led by a blazer named Bisho takes them all hostage. Bisho demands a big ransom in exchange for letting the hostages go. Meanwhile, Kurono gives Iki, Stella, Shizuku, and Alice permission to use their special weapons to fight the attackers. When Stella tries to intervene, Bisho stops her with his special weapon, Judgment Ring, and threatens the hostages. Shizuku uses the distraction to protect herself, Stella, and the hostages with a wall of water. Meanwhile, Iki cuts off Bisho's left arm so he can't use Judgment Ring. When the gunmen try to fight back, another blazer named Shizuya Kirihara shows up and takes them down. Afterwards, Kirihara tells Iki that they were supposed to have a match, but instead Iki runs away. The Kirihara announces he will have the chance to fight Iki anyway since they will have a match together at the festival. The festival starts, and during the selection match, Stella, Shizuku, and Alice easily beat their opponents. Meanwhile, Iki starts learning about Kirihara's special skill, which makes him invisible and hard to detect. He meets up with Alice and tells her about his past encounter with Kirihara. In the next day's match, Kirihara uses his special skill to create an illusion of a forest on the battlefield. At first, Iki can see where Kirihara is by watching the arrows he shoots, but Kirihara improves his technique, making the arrows invisible and hurting Iki. Kirihara taunts Iki, saying he has to win the festival to graduate. Stella gets mad and tells Iki to keep fighting. Using what he's learned about Kirihara's attacks, Iki finds where he is with his own special skill and beats him. But Iki exhausts himself in the process and passes out. Later at the hospital, Stella visits Iki and he tells her he has feelings for her. At first, she's embarrassed, but then she kisses him on the cheek. They promise to meet and have a fight in the final match of the festival. It's been 2 weeks since Iki's fight with Kirihara. He's been winning his matches easily, and he's not known as the worst one anymore. Now, people call him another one, and he's popular with other students. He also helps them get better at sword fighting by sharing what he knows. But Stella is getting upset because Iki isn't giving her as much attention since they started dating. One day, Iki takes Stella, Shizuku, Alice, and his friends to the local swimming pool for more training. Shizuku and Alice talk about Shizuku's feelings for Iki, even though they're related. Meanwhile, Stella talks to Kagami Kusakabe, a classmate, about her and Iki's relationship. They end up having a fight because Stella thinks Iki doesn't like her anymore, but he says that's not true. After they calm down and work things out, Iki suggests they both say what they want to do right now, and Stella agrees. They both want to kiss, so they do, and they manage to reconcile. On the way back, they find out their next opponents are from the student council. As Iki and Stella keep doing well in the selection matches, Iki notices a girl following him. Eventually, she tells him her name is Ayase Ayatsuji, and she's the daughter of a famous swordsman named Kaido Ayatsuji. She wanted to ask Iki to help her get better at sword fighting, but she's scared of guys, so she couldn't talk to him directly. Iki agrees to help her, which surprises Stella and Shizuku. During their training, Iki figures out that Ayase is trying to copy her dad's style, but it's impossible to do, so he suggests that since she's committed to copying her dad's style, and can't use any other moves, she should understand her own body better to adjust her position. With this advice, Ayase is able to hit Iki easily. While walking home together one day, Stella asks Shizuku if she's jealous of Ayase, and Shizuku says she isn't. She hopes that Stella will always take care of Iki, and never betray him. One night, while having dinner with Ayase, Iki and Stella meet Kurado Kurashiki, a blazer who knows Ayase and doesn't like swordsmen. He starts bothering Ayase and hurts Iki when he tries to protect her. Later, they're approached by Yudakata Misogi and Kanata Tadokibara, who are from the Hagun Academy Student Council. They praise Iki for not fighting back against Kurado. As they walk home, Iki and Ayase find out that they'll be facing each other in the next festival match. Then Ayase asks Iki to meet her on the rooftop that night. Ayase and Iki meet on the rooftop, but suddenly Ayase jumps off. Iki uses his special skill to save her. Ayase admits that she wanted to stop Iki from using his power in their match because he can only use it once every 24 hours. Now, Iki is really tired and weak, but he manages to get back to his room. Meanwhile, Stella was having a strange dream, but when she wakes up, she helps Iki. Now, Iki has to fight Ayase without his special power, and Ayase has set up traps on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Iki figures out Ayase is trying hard to win because she is trying to win her family's dojo back, and to accomplish this she needs to win the tournament. But even though he gets hurt really badly, Iki can see through Ayase's moves and wins the fight. He also talks to her and offers to help her get back what she lost. With Stella and Ayase by his side, Iki goes to Ayase's dojo and challenges Kurashiki to a fight to win back the training place. During the fight, Iki gets hurt by Kurashiki's moves, which makes Ayase think of her dad's fight with Kurashiki, and it hurts her inside. When Ayase wants to stop the fight, Stella tells her not to because they won't get the training place back if they do, and Iki is actually having a good time and enjoying the fight, just like her dad did. Ayase realizes that her dad's apology at the end of the fight was for not being able to finish his final move, and losing during the match. Luckily, using Ayase's dad's secret move, Iki manages to win the fight and gives back the dojo to Ayase. Days later, the director sends Iki and Stella to a training camp. Stella is excited at first because she thinks she'll get to spend time alone with Iki, but it turns out they're sent to help the student council clean up the training field. After they finish cleaning, Stella wants to go up the mountains and see a waterfall with Iki, even though she has a fever. They get caught in a sudden storm, so they find an old lodge to take shelter in. But Stella's wet clothes lead to an awkward situation. Later, they're attacked by a blazer who uses puppets and controls golems, but the student council members stop the attack. The student council president, Toka Todo, deals with the blazer herself and shows herself to be a powerful blazer. Meanwhile, Shizuku goes back to the Kirogane house to face her dad, and she finds out that her next opponent will be Toka Todo. Shizuku's match with the student council president Toka Todo begins, and Iki and Stella are worried because they've seen how strong Toka is. Shizuku really wants to win to show that she's strong enough to stand with her brother against everyone, especially their own family. But Toka proves to be a powerful opponent. As the battle goes on, Shizuku realizes that Toka is faster and stronger than her, so she decides to use a defensive weapon and attacks with water and ice from a distance. She covers the arena in ice to give herself an advantage, but Toka sees through her moves. Toka begins to show she can close the gap really quickly with her trackless step ability, and although Shizuku tries to use a thick mist to retreat, she ends up losing her match against Toka. Later, the ethics committee, which is run by the Kirogane family and Akaza the committee chairman, causes trouble by taking a picture of Stella and Iki kissing at school. Iki gets arrested and put in a special prison owned by the Kirogane family. He's questioned a lot and made to fight in the selection matches even though he's locked up. But despite the tough situation, Iki keeps winning his matches. During one of his hearings, he asks to talk to his dad, and surprisingly, they let him. But his dad tells him to quit the selection process because if Ikki wins, it will cause problems in his dad's organization. Ikki becomes upset that his dad doesn't accept him, but he becomes invigorated when he is given a lock of Stella's hair, which reminds him of his promise to fight Stella at the end of the 7-Star Sword Festival. The ethics committee tells Ikki that his final opponent in the selection matches will be Tokatoto, and if he loses, he'll have to give up his dream and leave the academy. Ikki's final match against Tokatoto is going to be shown on TV worldwide. Meanwhile, Stella and Alice win their last matches and earn spots in the 7 Stars Battle Festival. Despite being tired and hurt from his previous fights, and mistreatment in prison, and dealing with self-doubt, Ikki makes it to the arena on time. Everyone at Hagon Academy cheers him on, as he has proven himself in the selection matches. Tokatoto and everyone else know the fight is rigged, but they still want to see if Ikki is really willing to fight. Through a tough fight, Ikki manages to defeat Tokatoto, which shocks Akaza. Akaza doesn't want to accept the result, and tries to attack Ikki, but Stella comes to the rescue and easily knocks Akaza away. While Stella is with him, Ikki proposes to her, and it's broadcast to the whole world. Then, the Emperor of Vermilion calls Ikki's dad and suggests that their kids shouldn't have to carry out their parents' political goals. They have a ceremony to honor the 6 students from the school who will be in the 7-Star Sword Arts Festival. Tokatoto chooses Ikki as the leader and flag bearer. Later, Ikki talks with Stella about his proposal, but before anything can happen, Shizuku and Alice show up. Shizuku starts making up rules to teach Stella how to be a proper bride for her brother, but Stella gets mad because she thinks some of the rules are silly. She decides that she and Ikki will forge their own path together. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.